So I'm kind of happy that this will be my first upload of the New Year's. It's an accomplishment that I'm actually pretty proud of. I took Spright Adventure to my locals over my winter break, um, and I actually topped pretty consistently. I think we had around 3 weeks uh, for winter break, and for 2 weeks I actually topped my locals. Um, I will. I'm gonna go over the deck, and then I'll go over my matchups at the end. Um, so I will just go ahead and get started. So starting off, your pretty standard Sprite lineup. You got 3 blue and 3 jet. These are your searchers. You can special summon these guys from your hand if you control a level or rank 2 monster. Blue on special summon searches for a Spright monster. Besides blue, I think. Yeah. And then Jet on special summon searches for a spell or trap card. Then we have the negation Spright monsters. We have 1 red and 1 carrot. Red, you contribute 1 other level rank or link 2 monster to negate the effect that your opponent activate, monster effect that they activate. And then if you attributed a rank or link 2 monster, you can also optionally destroy it. And same goes with Carrot, except Carrot is a spell trap card negate. And then these two special summon themselves from the hand if you control a level or link 2 monster. I didn't run Pixies because I didn't think that I had room for it. But after some trading and getting my hands on a playset of Druis Worms, uh, I think I can clear out a couple cards and maybe add Pixies. But I think this lineup is pretty good. And then for the rest of the level 2s, we have the 3 beavers. It summons a level 3 or lower Nimble monster from deck or graveyard or normal summon. It's really good for a combo or line starting, and then as follow up, if you negate something with your Totally Awesome, you can add back a beaver from your graveyard to your hand. And then next turn you have a free normal summon, and then you can get back one of your Nimble monsters. Um, so I play a lineup of 3 beaver and 2 angler. Angler, if it's sent from hand or deck to the graveyard, you can summon up to 2 level 3 or lower Nimble monsters, except another copy of Angler. So normally if you have a beaver, you normal summon beaver, special summon your Angler, and then make Sprint to send your other copy. But yeah, you can really make use of these 5 cards in many different ways with this deck, and one of them being the swap frog, swap frogs. I played 2 because I don't think I needed a third, but I think I've been after my last locals, I think I've been looking into playing a copy of I think Dupe Frog. Just because it's battle protection. If you go into IP to make Avermax on your opponent's turn, they can't attack into your IP if you summon Dupe Frog from the deck. But I think right now I like having 2 just to have space for other stuff. Swap Frog works with your copy of Nimble Angler because it was sent from the hand. And then I learned recently that you can actually chain block if you're playing against tier elements, and if you think they have Havness in hand. Havness has to respond to an effect on the field, so if you send your Nimble Angler to the graveyard by the effect of Swap Frog, you summon Swap Frog, and then you do chain 1 Swap Frog, chain 2 Angler. They can't respond because Angler is not an on-field effect, which I find very interesting, and it's really good knowledge. That is it for the level 2 lineup. I'll go into the adventure stuff, which is pretty plain and simple. You got 3 Enchantress. She actually works really well with the deck because I've had hands that just really don't work. It doesn't let me get into my Spright lineup, and usually that would be like a Enchantress or two Enchantress and other stuff. Maybe like a regular level 2 monster that maybe like a Nimble Angler or something. I don't know. I just the lineup I find that I was playing I find to be very versatile because I can just use almost everything as extenders. Um, but Enchantress, you can banish her from your hand or graveyard to search for a Rite of Aramesir from your deck or add it from your graveyard to your hand. So she's recursion, and then she enables your adventure stuff. And then if you control an adventure token, you can special summon her, which is really nice because that let me uh, play my hand more and let me get into my combos, even though they were a little unorthodox. And then, of course, the one Griffin Rider, you can special summon it during the main phase as a quick effect if you control no monsters or if you control an adventure token. And then if you control an adventure token, you can negate something your opponent activates by shuffling this guy into the deck. That's it for like the um, non-hand trap monsters. I'm going to go into the hand traps. Um, I play quite a bit against tier, so I started main decking 3 Shifter. Um, this card, I think it worked with me more than it worked against me, but it worked against me a couple times, mostly because I probably wasn't playing right. But Shifter, if I lose the dice roll against tier limits and they decide they wanted to go first and I open Shifter, it's pretty much a turn ender for them. They just make Baguska pass or something, and I'm just really just able to effectively kill them from there, which is nice. Now that I have a third Druid Worm, I've been thinking about moving these to the side deck, and then adding the third Druid Worm, and then maybe Pixies for extra extension. Um, but I'll have to test a little bit, and then more hand traps. Probably the best hand traps you have 3 Mag, 2 Druid Worm, and 1 Serenir. Um, they all target a light or dark monster in the graveyard as cost, and then um, on res it special summons themselves by banishing the target. Um, and they do different things. Mag on special summon lets you add a card during a dragon type monster besides another copy of Magnum during the end phase. Druisworm, if it's sent from the hand or from the field to the graveyard, you can target a special summon monster to send it to the graveyard. And then Serenir is a foolish burial for a branded spell trap card or bysteel monster if it's sent to the graveyard. So really, you just use it for a way to interrupt your tier limit matchup. Like I said, I think I'm at 42 cards, so taking these 3 would put me at 39. So I could probably add a third Drosworm instead of just D-Shifter. Because the Bysteel stuff is still good if you lose the dice roll against tier, but Shifter is kind of just turn ender. That is it for the monsters, I believe. Yeah, I'll move into the spell cards. I play 3 Spright Starter. It's literally a starter for your turn. You special summon a Spright monster from your deck, and then you take you lose life points equal to its attack. But you are locked into level rank Link 2 monsters for the rest of the turn, which sometimes locked me out of being able to use my Bysteel effects during my opponent's turn, or if I wanted to summon Griffin Rider. But I did starter first before I activated Griffin Rider. So it kind of screwed me over. Not screwed me, but it messed me up a little bit. Just because I just wasn't playing right. Yeah, really, really strong card. And then I play 2 Triple Tactics Talent. A lot of things going on during the main phase with your Bysteals and tier element monsters. Mainly Havness, I think. Tactics is just a powerful card to play. I kind of wish I could play a third one, but having 3 just might be too bricky, so I play 2. But sometimes I have hands or um, board states where I'm like, I really wish I had a tactics talent right now. Um, but yeah, amazing card either way. And then, interestingly enough, I went into this deck with a theory because I talked to a bit to a friend of mine who's a really good Yu-Gi-Oh player about this, specifically about Adventure Spright, and I came up with the idea to play 1 Rite of Aramis here. It gets your adventure stuff started. You activate it, you summon a token, and then you can place Fateful Adventure from your deck face up into your spell trap card zone. But you can't activate the effects of monsters on the field except special summon monsters the turn you activate this. So if you activate it and you make the token, you can't normal summon your Nimble Beaver to summon like a Beaver or an Angler from deck. Or if you normal summon Beaver to summon a Nimble monster from deck, you can't activate Right. So that's just important to know. But yeah, I got a little bit of advice from my friend who said Rite of Aramis here it's just a bricky card because you can only activate 1, and if you draw 2, that's just a dead card. So I had the idea to play just the 3 Enchantress and the 1 Rite of Aramis here, which is essentially just 4 copies of Rite and then 3 extenders. And I have to say it worked out for me. I've been really liking it. When I see it, I usually have an Enchantress in hand for extension, or I just don't have an Enchantress at all, and it's just like Spright stuff, which is really nice. But yeah, I really like the 1 copy. I could see maybe bumping it up to 2, but I like it at 1 right now. And then of course the 1 Fateful Adventure. You can, once per turn, you can search for a monster that lists adventure token and then discard a card. And then if a monster is summoned, if your opponent summons a monster or you summon a monster, you can either search for a equip card that lists adventure token, or if you control an adventure token, you can equip it from the deck, which is really nice. Which kind of circumvents anti-spell fragrance because it doesn't activate it from the deck, it just equips it from deck, which is really nice. And then the rest of the one-ofs, 1 Foolish Burial. I got 2, technically 5 cards that work with Foolish Burial, so this is pretty much a 4th Water Enchantress or a 3rd Nimble Angler, which is really nice. Technically, I think I could take this out and just play a 3rd Angler, but it's too versatile. And then, of course, 1 Dracoback. If it's in the graveyard, you can target a adventure token you control to equip it to it, and then you can target a card your opponent controls to just bounce it to their hand, which used to out Mystic Mine before it got banned, and other problematic cards. Then the last of the spell cards, play 1 Smashers. This card really helped me kill a lot when I was going second and my opponent was under D-Shifter, or just not under D-Shifter at all. I kind of just impermed them or buy-sealed them so they couldn't do more plays, so I just went to kill them that turn, and Spright Smashers is just a really good board clearer. Non-targeting banishing is unsurprisingly pretty good. But yeah, it's just a quick play. Banish a Spright, Therion, or Spriggan's card from your hand to graveyard and activate one of the effects. To banish, you mainly banish a level, rank, or link 2 monster you control and 1 card your opponent controls, so it's just non-targeting removal, which is nice. It outs Avermax, and really any towers that can't be like targeted. If it's like a what is it called? The Arrival at Ignister, that's just unaffected by everything. Smashers can't really deal with that. But if it's like an Avermax that can't be targeted, This card can make quick work of it. And then for the trap cards, just really clean and simple. 3 imperm for tier matchup, but also just other things. Having a free negate during my opponent's turn is really good. And then, of course, if it's set, you activate it and you negate the column for spell and trap cards for the rest of the turn, which is really nice. And then the one double cross. This card is absurdly crazy. It is a let's see, it's a monster reborn. It's a mind control, and it's a I don't know what card attaches a card or an opponent's card to your Xyz monster as material. But it's all 3 of those, and you just get to choose which one you want. So if you got an extra space for your Spright elf, you can just take a problematic card or monster your opponent controls and steal it, or attach it to a totally awesome or a gigantic Spright as Xyz material. Or if you've already used your totally awesome twice during one turn, you can bring that totally awesome back for a 3rd time, which is just absurd. So yeah, that is the main deck. It is at 42 cards. I want to work to maybe bump it down for extra consistency. I don't own any pot of prosperity, so I wasn't really able to use it, but I think not having that extra search card didn't matter because I did pretty good for myself. I'll go ahead and go into the extra deck for now. Standard Xyz lineup, 2 gigantic. You activate the effect. It doesn't detach an Xyz material as cost. You detach a material from this card to special summon any level 2 monster. That mainly gets you access into your totally awesome, unless you already have like Swap Frog in hand, in which case this can make your Spright monsters live, or get your Spright stuff out. If it has an extra deck monster attached to it as Xyz material, its original attack becomes doubled, so it becomes 32. And then when it uses the effect to special summon any level 2 monster from the deck, both players are locked to only being able to summon level, rank, or link 2 monsters. So they can't nib you, they can't buy steal, they can't haveness during the opponent's turn, or if they already have, they can't fusion summon unless they have like a level 2 fusion. Which is pretty good. Yeah, great card. And then one totally awesome. This is your like main negate card for the deck. You during the standby phase, you can detach a material to summon a frog card from your deck. If your opponent activates a spell, trap card, or monster effect, you can send an aqua monster from your field to the graveyard to negate it, and then negate and destroy, and then you can set it to your field. And then if it's sent to the graveyard, you can target any water monster in your graveyard to add it back to your hand, which is how you get back your Nimble Beavers. And then you can just summon this card so many times during your opponent's turn, it's just absurd. And then 1 Sky Cavalry Centauria. This card helps out some big boss monsters. It can't be destroyed by battle while it has Xyz material, and then at the end of the damage step, if this card battle an opponent's monster, you can just detach material from this card to return that monster to the hand. If it's an extra deck monster, it shuffles it back to the deck. But this card helps you swing into stuff just so you can make a Zeus. I play 1 Mannequin Cat. I really like the utility that Mannequin Cat can bring out. Because if you're going like game 2 or 3, you can summon Mannequin Cat, and if your opponent is playing like Tier Elements and they summon a Havenous, you can summon your copy of End of Anubis or your Testudo or Rat Newman that you sided in, and they can't activate graveyard effects if they activate, or if you summon your End of Anubis and they can't special summon any monster with 1800 or more attack if you summon Testudo or Rat Newman. Yeah, I'll get into those guys when I get into the side deck. I play 1 Onibamaro Soul Sweeper. This is just detach an Xyz material to target a monster they control to banish it until their end phase. This card really helped me just swing into my opponent's life points directly after I banish their Zeus for a couple turns. It was really just a we both whittled down our all of our resources, and luckily I was able to extend into being able to make a soul sweeper after they made a Zeus with like one. They had one material left after they used it, so I just banished it, swung past, and just prayed that they didn't have anything, and they did. So they just brought back their Zeus. Past turn, I just banished the Zeus again, and then swing, and then I made my own Zeus with my copy of Downer Magician, and then yeah, one Zeus. Pretty standard Xyz lineup, I think. I like this. I like the Mannequin Cat for like game 2 and 3s because it can just summon quote unquote floodgate monsters against like the higher tier decks or just like rogue stuff. And then I'll get into Link monsters. I play 2 Elf. Basically, Elf makes it so that monsters it points to cannot be targeted by your opponent's card effects, I think. It can't be used as Link material during the turn it was summoned. And then during the main phase, as a quick effect, you can target a level 2 monster from your graveyard. Or if your opponent controls a monster, you can target a rank or Link 2 monster as well, and then just special summon that monster, which is mainly what you use to bring your Toad back to the field. And then one Sprind. This card is your combo starter. You summon any Link 2s, summon it, and then send your Nimble Angler. Nimble Angler will summon your Beavers, and then you can just go after the races. And then if you control an Xyz monster while you control Sprind, and then your opponent summons a monster, or if you summon a monster off of like Elf Effect, you can detach a material from an Xyz monster you control to just target a monster on the field to bounce it, which is really, it's cool that it's there, but it didn't come up much, and it wasn't really useful when I tried going for that route. Yeah, 2 Elf, 1 Sprind, and then 1 Dark to grab any dark monsters my opponent has in their graveyard, like their Bysteals. If you steal a Magnemite they have in their graveyard, you can activate its effect to search for a Bysteal during your end phase. And then if it's destroyed while you control it, you can search for a dark monster with I think 1500 or less defense. Yeah. 1 IP just to make Avermax. 1 Codebreaker Virus Swordsman. This card, you mainly use it to beat over Baguska if you interrupt your opponent's tier plays, and all they have is just a Baguska pass. So, plus if it's destroyed by battle or card effect, during the end phase it was destroyed and it's in the graveyard, you can just summon it back, so it's a free Link 2 that you can use to just make a free Gigantic. And then 1 Avermax just to make a really big monster that can't be targeted, can't be destroyed by card effects. And then if it leaves the field and is sent to the graveyard, you can target a card your opponent controls to shuffle it into the deck. This did not feel as useful as it could have been. It was outed pretty easily when I tried using it. And then I felt like just having Spright Red on the field just to have an extra negate was better than having an Avermax. But Avermax is also pretty good just to get over big monsters that were special summoned. So yeah, that is it for the extra deck. I will go ahead and get into the side deck. So of course, as with the main deck, my side deck changed over time. As I played and I tried adapting and I tried finding stuff that worked. But one card that stayed in the side deck was the 1 copy of End of Anubis. You summon it off of Mannequin Cat, or if you open like your adventure stuff, and you don't have to waste a normal summon, and this card is in your hand, you can just normal summon it because it's a level 6, or tribute summon, sorry. Tribute summon it, and then it's just no monster can activate its effect in the graveyard, or your opponent can't buy steal you, you can't buy steal your opponent. So, and it's just a big beater. It's 2500 attack. And then one red resonator. I picked one up at the end of, or before the beginning of my last tournament, which was actually a really big tournament. It's level 2, so it works with your Spright monsters. If it's normal summon, you can special summon a level 4 or lower monster from your hand. And then if Red Resonator is special summon, you can target a monster you control to gain life points equal to its attack. So basically, you use it to gain life points in time, and then if you have you usually summon it off of your gigantic that has like a Spright Sprint attached to it. So you have a 3200 attack monster that you can summon red from the deck, target your gigantic, and you gain 3200 life points, which will put you at like what 11,200. So that's a lot of life points your opponent has to get rid of before they can win in time off of life points. And then I play one Testudo Rat Newman. It's just if it's on the field, neither player can special summon monsters with 1800 or more attack. I noticed that my locals had a few Sword Soul players. So I put this guy in the side deck because if they summon any of their Sword Soul tokens, it's a water monster. So if you have Mankin Cat, you can summon Testudo from the deck, and then they can't synchro summon, and then they can't do any other summon mechanic besides synchro summon while they have their token, so they can't link summon if they're most likely they're on Tenyi Sword Soul, but they can't make their Tenyi monsters or extra deck monsters because they can't synchro summon. But yeah, those are the only monsters in the side deck. For the spell cards, it's pretty generic for a side deck. 3 Lightning Storms for back row hate and any monsters your opponent leaves in attack position that really don't have a benefit if they're destroyed by card effects. 3 copies of Dark Ruler No More, just to have a board of negates after your opponent combos off. Triple copies of Evenly Match for, I guess, technically more back row hate, but more like a whole board hate if your opponent doesn't have anything to negate it with. If you evenly match them, they have to banish cards, so you guys control the same amount of cards, which at the time should normally be 1 since you do it in the battle phase and just before doing anything. And then if for some reason they decide they want to destroy this with like a Cosmic Cyclone or Twin Twisters, you wouldn't control any cards, so they would have to banish their entire field. I've had that happen to me once on like Dueling Book. It did not work well for the opponent. And then for the last of the side deck, I play 3 Anti-Spell Fragrances just for if you're going into game 2 or 3, your opponent, if you don't give your opponent any knowledge, they're just going to side in board breakers like Lightning Storm, or Dark Ruler No More. So if you draw this, you can set it, and in the standby phase, you can just activate it, and their board breakers are not doing anything. So yeah, I think that's a pretty standard side deck. I guess I will go ahead and get into my matches. So I topped a total of 4 times during my winter break. It was my first time. I got first place at I believe it was Christmas Eve that my locals was holding a tournament. Not a lot of people showed up, obviously, but I did, and I was up against 2 tier limit players, one tier Shizu and one tier Shadal is Shizu, or just tier Shadal, and then one Gravekeeper Necro Valley player. So I was able to get first place there. The next time was I believe New Year's. I got first place at that tournament. I believe it was if I can pull it up, I believe I have it written down somewhere. Yeah. So my New Year's my New Year's tournament was 4 rounds. The first round I got the bye. Round 2 I was up against Labyrinth. Round 3 against Crystal Beast Stun. And then round 4 I was up against Sharks. It looks like I 2-0'd all of them. I guess it was 4 people, so about I think 8 to 10 people were there. I think all the tier players just didn't do well enough to get into top. But yeah, I won the last locals of the year for that shop, and then uh, it looks like, oh right, and then so the next one would have been the next Tuesday. So the second of January, I believe there. I don't remember my matchups, but uh I played Sword Soul round 1. I think it was a 2-0. Round 2, I don't remember. I feel like it was 4 rounds, but the more important part is that I was undefeated until round 4, where I lost to Sword Soul, which I ended up getting second place, which is still pretty good. And then my last locals was I ended up 3-1-1 and taking fourth place at a 19-man tournament, so about 5 rounds. And that locals was against round 1 tier Ishizu, which ended up being a tie. Round 2 was against Labyrinth. That was a 2-1 game. My round 3, I lost to Exosister. Uh, he just set up like Macrocosmos. He had Solemn Judgment for my Lightning Storm and a Ash Blossom for my starter, so it was not that great of a hand. So I lost that round, and then round 4 was Labyrinth again, which I 2-0'd, and then my last round I played Dark World Danger, which was a 2-0, so I ended up taking fourth at that tournament. Um, so for being kind of new to the Spright deck, I feel like I did pretty good. Um, Obviously, I have a lot to learn about the deck, but I'm very picky about the decks that I like. I normally play Rogue just because I pick up and play a deck because I like the aesthetics of it or play style. When I saw Spright first come out, um, I really liked how they looked and how they played, and I wanted to pick them up. But Spright Blues were like $150 each at the time, and I didn't pull any from my sneak preview, so I wasn't able to play it until this winter break. Um, and then I have the adventure package because I picked up an ulti playset of Water Enchantress, so I wanted to play that, and yeah, it just worked out. Yeah, I think that's just about it. What would I change? I think I would move the dimension shifters to the side deck to bump it down to 40 after I think adding a third Juris Worm. And then uh, maybe change up the extra deck a bit because, like I said, um, I liked my extra deck, but I felt like my Avermax wasn't as useful as it could be. So maybe I'll swap that out for a Nightmare Unicorn to have just a little bit of extra interruption during my opponent's turn, or maybe swap these two out, the IP and the Crusade Aeromax, just for some other cards. But yeah, I think that's the only things I would change. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. And I will, I guess I'll see you guys later.